Good morning, it's a new day, a brand new beginning.
It's a new life, a whole new beginning, a brand new day, and I'm coming out winning days.
And today will be part 2 of the Smart Stationary Bike project. Think, make it better. Anyways, I will get it where I left it off earlier. So I was basically making the handlebar system so that my handlebars could fit properly, move, and also so that I could place an electronic component so that the Arduino board can sense when I turn the bars and thus send a keystroke to act as a video game controller. Basically, my PVC pipe was too loose, so I make a shim out of duct tape so that there is a really nice fit in between the T of the PVC and the actual handlebars. As you can see, I think that it looks pretty cool. In the first version of the bike, I was using some mechanical switches which really felt unnatural and was very awkward. So this time I will use a potentiometer that I have scavenged from an old PCB, and this also allows me to sense the keystroke exponentially according to the potentiometer's value, and the handlebars will also feel way more natural. So this is why I cut a small square out of scrap plywood, which I then drill with the help of my Dremel tool or with a small drill bit, which I then enlarge with my normal drill. And as I can see now, the potentiometer feels really nice and is quite tight. I have also added some super glue on the potentiometer knob. So this is why I can now hot glue my potentiometer system onto my handlebars, like so. But actually I had to remove it simply because I had not put the handlebars through the PVC-T and the square out of plywood could not fit in the round hole. So this means that I can now screw the PVC-T onto my top horizontal piece of wood. And one problem that I had found is that you must not place any screws inside the head tube. So you are losing some contact strength, but otherwise the handlebars cannot spin. So I removed the screws and filed the inside until I get a really smooth finish so that I get a really clean, nice and natural feel when I will spin my handlebars. Anyways, I now measure the length in between the upper top part of the piece of wood and the bottom part of the potentiometer, which I then subtract from the length of the rear leg, and this will give me the front leg. And this allows me to cut the piece of wood right now. Once that is done, that means that I can screw in the bottom horizontal part with the pieces of wood and the spacers that we have made in part 1. And you should end up with something like that. So here, after measuring the final length, it allows me to cut 2 more pieces of wood where the fan will be spinning. But we will see this in part 3 of the bike project, which will be in the next video. Moreover, we can now screw these 2 pieces of wood in, and then this means that the front leg is standing and thus that the bike can stand. But I have seen that all the pressure in the front, which accounts for 60% of the weight on the bike, is placed on the small potentiometer, and thus that is really not great. And I think that it will break the potentiometer really quickly and the bike will not be sturdy at all. So I have taken a piece of scrap wood which I then cut to length, and then this allows me to screw one on each side. As I just mentioned, putting some pressure on the potentiometer also makes the glue fall apart, and thus I had to re-glue the whole potentiometer system. But in the end, it was working pretty great. Next, the bike cannot stand on its own because it does not have any legs which lay flat on the floor. And for this I am going to use some scrap wood, but I also need some L brackets. And since I did not have one, nor could afford to buy some, I have used this old cutting board that was laying around as scrap wood. I have found it in the trash and I have used it because it is rather thick. And I can tell you guys that this really was a whole lot of work to cut. Anyways, 30 minutes short, it is finished, and now I can cut the two very bottom feet of the bike. And I then place a piece of scrap wood in between the two L brackets and hot glue in order to maintain them in place while I add the screws from the bottom. Note that it would be better to do it one bracket at a time so that you can also screw on the horizontal side, but I did not think about this, and it still works fine. Once all of this is done, we can put our legs on the bike. I have just finished screwing really quickly the thickened piece which supports the front part of the bike, otherwise it would not hold up my weight. And I also screw on the seat from the previous bike. And in the end, I think that the bike is starting to look good. Anyways, that is it for today. This video is quite long already, and I will continue in part 4, where we will take a look at the pedal system and eventually finish off the electronics and or the project.